Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this bracelet right here. This bracelet is my own original design and it is a part of my new looming series, the triple single pet bracelets. And as you can see here, it is a bunny, and yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you what you're going to need. To make this bracelet, you're going to need your loom. Any loom will work as long as in each of its rows of pins it has 13 pins. So in order to make this bracelet, you need to have 13 pins in this left row, 13 pins in the middle row, and 13 pins in this right row. And as you can see here, I have my rainbow loom. You will also need your hook. Any hook will work as well. And as you can see here, I have my rainbow loom plastic hook. Just a regular rainbow loom hook. And you will also need your clip, or any clip, as long as it is for rubber band bracelets. As you can see here, I have my S clip. And not only will you need all of those things there, but you will also need rubber bands. Now, you're going to need about 92 rubber bands in total, or 94 rubber bands in total, and you will see why in a moment. But you will need at least 3 groups of rubber bands. The first group, the A rubber bands, are the body rubber bands, which will make up the bunny and some parts of the ears and the legs and the arms. And they are white in this example, and in this tutorial they are going to be brown. And in this example they are also green. And you will need 77 of these A rubber bands. Then here in this B group here, these rubber bands are the rubber bands for your bunny's little tummy here, which are pink in this example, and also for parts of the ears. And I do have a new model for the ears, and here is what the ears look like now. And yeah, it looks a lot cooler and a lot better. And yeah, it's a lot better than these ears here. And for that, you are going to need 12 of these rubber bands. Then, these C rubber bands, which there aren't very many at all here, these rubber bands here in this C group are the face rubber bands, which are the rubber bands that make up the face on your bunny. And there we go. The face here are these 2 eyes and this nose. They're 2 different colors, so you can have different colors for the face. And in this example, they are black, the eyes. And the eyes will be black in this tutorial as well. And in this example, the nose is pink. And in this tutorial, it is going to be an apricot-ish peach color. And then, now you're going to see why you'll either need 92 rubber bands or 94 rubber bands. This fourth group here, it is optional. You do not have to have this fourth group, these D rubber bands. And these rubber bands here, as you can see, are clear, which I am holding them right now. And the optional rubber bands are these whiskers on my example here. And I did not cut these rubber bands because I know this is just an example and I'm more than likely going to be taking this apart. And these whiskers are optional. And there are also 2 other rubber bands that are body color rubber bands. So that means you will either need 90 rubber bands or 94 rubber bands, not 92. So these optional rubber bands, there are 4 of them, and 2 of them are skin color. So yes, you will either need 90 or 94, not 92, sorry. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now that you know what you will need, get your supplies, use the pause button if you need to, and I will see you once you have gotten everything. Alright, now, to begin making this bracelet, you're going to need 38 A color rubber bands, or in other words, body color rubber bands, and you're going to need 4 B color rubber bands. And these 4 rubber bands are going to be the tummy on your little bunny here. And it is pink in this example, and it is gold in this tutorial. Now, to begin, make sure that the arrow on your loom is pointing away from you. The first rubber bands we're going to be placing are body color rubber bands. Now, to begin placing these body rubber bands, we're going to start on this first middle pin. And from this first middle pin to this first left pin, we're going to place a body color rubber band. Then, from this first left pin to this second left pin, you're going to place another body color rubber band. And from this second left pin to this third left pin, you are going to place another body color rubber band. And from this third left pin to this fourth left pin, you are going to place another body color rubber band. And all you're going to do is you're just going to place body color rubber bands going up this left row of pins on your loom until you get to this 12th left pin. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward from here so that the video is not going to be too or extremely long. So use the pause button if you need to. Alright, well, as you can see, I have finished placing body color rubber bands going up this left row of pins on my loom, and I have stopped when I got to this 12th left pin. Now, once you get to this 12th left pin, you're going to get another body color rubber band and place it going inwards from this 12th left pin to this 13th middle pin. Now we need to come back to this first middle pin on our looms, and now we're going to do this exact same thing we did here on the left, now on the right. So get another body color rubber band, and starting from this first middle pin, you're going to place a body color rubber band going outwards to this first right pin. Then, from this first right pin to this second right pin, you're going to place another body color rubber band. Then from this second right pin to this third right pin, you're going to place another body color rubber band. And just like you did before, you're just going to continue placing body color rubber bands going up this right row of pins on your loom until you get to this 12th right pin. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video. Use the pause button if you need to. Alright, now as you can see, just like I did on the left, I have stopped placing body color rubber bands when I got to this 12th right pin. Now I'm going to get one more body color rubber band, and I'm going to place it going inwards from this 12th right pin to this 13th middle pin. Now I am done placing these body color rubber bands on the right and left sides of my loom. Now I need to go through and place rubber bands on this middle row of pins on my loom. Now get out your 4 belly color rubber bands, because we are going to be placing these in this middle row of pins. We need to come back to this first middle pin once again, and we need to start placing body color rubber bands. So from this first middle pin to this second middle pin, you are going to place a body color rubber band. Then from this second middle pin to this third middle pin, you're going to place another body color rubber band, and you're going to place 4 more body color rubber bands on this middle row of pins. So you should have 6 body color rubber bands in this middle row of pins when you finish. Alright, once you have placed 6 body color rubber bands in this middle row of pins on your loom, you now need to get your 4 belly color rubber bands. We are now going to place these. The belly on your little bunny is going to be double rubber bands, which means that for one part of the belly, you will need 2 rubber bands. So double rubber bands. Now, when we begin placing our belly color rubber bands, we're going to be starting on the 7th middle pin. From the 7th middle pin to this 8th middle pin, we're going to place our first 2 belly color rubber bands. And then, with the last 2 belly color rubber bands you should have with you, you should still have more B color rubber bands, but these are the last 2 belly rubber bands that you need, and you're going to place them going from this 8th middle pin to this 9th middle pin. Now you should have these 2 little groups of belly color rubber bands. Now you're going to finish off this middle row of pins with body color rubber bands, starting on this 9th middle pin. So I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward the video. Alright, now as you can see, I have finished placing rubber bands in this middle row of pins now, and here's what you should have on your loom once you have finished. Now get out your face color rubber bands, which all of these should be C rubber bands. We are now going to begin placing these on our loom. Now, for the rest of the rubber bands we're going to be placing on our loom, we're going to need the arrow on our loom to be pointing towards us. So now as you can see, the arrow on my loom is now pointing towards me. Now, the first of these face rubber bands we're going to be placing are going to be the eye rubber bands. And in this example here, they are black, and in this tutorial, they are black as well. Now to place these eye color rubber bands, we need to find the 10th left and 10th right pins. So start from this first left pin and count 10 pins starting here. Here is the 10th left pin. The 10th right pin is going to be pretty much right next to it, with the exception of this middle pin bar in the way. These two here are the 10th left and 10th right pins. Now remember these 2 pins because we are now going to place the eye rubber bands on these pins. And these eye rubber bands are also going to be triple cap bands. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make a triple cap band. To make a triple cap band, you're going to need to take the rubber band you wish to make into a triple cap band and make it a regular cap band first. So you're going to take the rubber band you wish to make a triple cap band, and you're going to twist it into an 8 or an infinity sign like this. And then you're going to fold it back on top of itself like a book. And now, when you hold it, it looks like you have 2 rubber bands instead of 1. Here we go. Now we're going to place this regular cap band on either the 10th left pin or the 10th right pin. I'm going to place mine on the 10th left pin. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to change this into a triple cap band. Alright, now, as you can see here, I have a regular cap band on my 10th left pin, and to change this regular cap band into a triple cap band, you need to grab one of these two layers of this cap band. So I'm going to grab this top one here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to, with this layer of the cap band, you're going to twist it into an 8 shape, and now with this new little circle here that my finger is in, that you create by twisting this layer of the cap band, you're going to put it onto the same cap band with the rest of the original cap band. And now you should have a triple cap band on this 10th this 10th left or this 10th right pin, depending on what pin you had your cap band on. Now you're going to do this exact same thing for this 10th left or right pin for the other 10th left or right pin. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn my loom around. Oh, lost my black rubber band there for a moment. And what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing as you've done for this 10th, the other 10th pin. You're going to take the rubber band you wish to make into a triple cap band, twist it into an 8 or an infinity sign, then you're going to fold it like a book back on top of itself, and now it looks like you have 2 rubber bands instead of 1, and this is your regular cap band, and you're going to put this cap band on this 10th left or right pin, depending on which pin you have not placed your cap band on yet. Then you're going to make this regular cap band into a triple cap band, and to do this you're going to grab one of the 2 layers of the cap band that's on this pin, and you're going to twist it into an 8 shape. And now with this new circle that you've created by twisting this cap band, you're going to put it on the same pin with the rest of the original cap band. And now you should have a triple cap band, like this. Now you should have 2 eyes on the 10th left and the 10th right pin. Those are your 2 eyes. Now I'm going to show you how to place the nose rubber band. The nose rubber band is very easy to place. You're just going to place it on the 9th middle pin. So let me adjust my camera so you can see. So you're going to place this nose rubber band on this 9th middle pin. And to make a nose, you're going to make it the exact same way as you've made your eyes. You're going to make this rubber band into a triple cap band. To do this, you have to make a regular cap band first. So you're going to take the rubber band you wish to make into a nose, and you're going to twist it into an 8 or an infinity sign, like this. Then you're going to fold this rubber band back on top of itself like a book. And now, when you hold it, it should look like you have 2 rubber bands instead of 1. Now you're going to place this nail cap band onto this 9th middle pin. Now it may be a little difficult to get your fingers in there to grab a layer of this cap band. So what you can do is you can get your hook and grab one of the layers of this cap band. Then you're going to probably want to hold this put your finger over this pin so that the cap band does not slide up and come off the pin. And then you're going to twist one of the layers that you have in your hook, like into an 8, and then put this newly twisted circle thing that your hook is now in onto this 9th middle pin with the rest of the cap band. And getting this new little circle that you've created onto this pin is a little difficult. As you can see, my cap band just came off. And all you have to do is just do it again. And if you would like to use your fingers instead, then go ahead, but I'm going to use my hook. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get this on there. And as you can see, I now have another triple cap band on my loom. It is now the nose rubber band, and it is on the 9th middle pin. Now we are done placing the face rubber bands. We are now going to go ahead and start placing the feet rubber bands on our loom. To make both of the feet for your bunny, you're going to need 6 A-color rubber bands. Now, making the feet is pretty easy, but you're going to need to make the feet on your hook. Now, to make the feet, you're going to need to make a triple cap band on your hook. And it's a little easier to do it on your hook than it is on your loom. What you're going to do is you're going to put a body color rubber band on the neck of your hook. You're going to hold the rubber band so that you can twist it into an 8 and put this new little circle that you've created by twisting this rubber band onto your hook as well. And now you should get this on your hook. Now you're going to get one of these little layers here, and you're going to now twist it again and put this new thing that you create by twisting this layer onto your hook as well. And now you should get a triple cap band. Here is what you should have on your hook. Now, we're going to get 2 more body color rubber bands, and we're going to put these in the mouth of your hook. So make sure there's 2. And you're now going to slide this triple cap band onto these 2 body color rubber bands. Now I do apologize for going off camera there for a second, but I could not really seem to get this cap band on. But as you can see, it is now on, and now you can put this other end of this rubber band you were holding on your hook. And now you need to find the 5th left pin. So start on this first left pin. And when you find your 5th left pin, you're going to place these 2 rubber bands on your hook onto this 5th left pin. And it's easier if you do one layer at a time. So if you grab one side of this rubber band and put it on this 5th left pin, and then you do the same thing with this other side here. And now you should have one little foot on your loom. Now you're going to do this exact same thing, but now put the new foot on this right pin. So put your new foot on this 5th right pin. And to do this again, you're going to get a rubber band, a body color rubber band, and you're going to place it on the neck of your hook. Then you're going to take this rubber band and hold it, so now you can twist it into an 8 and put this new little circle you create by twisting the rubber band onto your hook. And then you're going to grab one of these 2 little layers here. You're going to twist it again, and you're going to put this new little circle that you create by twisting the rubber band again onto your hook as well. And you should get something like this. And now you have a triple cap band on your hook. Now you're going to get the last 2 body color rubber bands that you should have gotten out. And you're going to put them both in the mouth of your hook. And now you're going to slide this cap band onto these body rubber bands. Here we go. And now, with this other end of the 2 rubber bands that you're holding, you can put it on your hook. Now we're going to put this little foot onto the 5th right pin. So find the 5th right pin. It should be next to the 5th left pin, with the exception of this middle row of pins in the way. And now you're going to put this little foot onto this 5th right pin by transferring it from your hook. And it's easier if you take one part of the rubber bands on your hook off at a time, and then you do the others part after. And now, as you can see, I have 2 little feet on my loom. Now you're going to need to get 10 A color bands to make your arms, because that is what we're going to be making next. And make sure that the arrow on your loom is still pointing towards you. To place your arms, you're going to need to find the 8th left and right pins, starting from these first pins. Now, the 8th left and right pins should be right next to each other, with the exception of this middle pin bar in the way. Now remember these 2 pins, because we are going to begin placing our arms on these 2 pins. Making the arms is pretty much the same as making the legs, except they will be longer, and instead of having a triple cap band, they just have a regular cap band. Now, to make your arms, you're going to need your hook again, and you're also going to need to get a body color rubber band. Now, starting the arms is pretty much the same as starting the legs and the feet. You're going to put a body color rubber band on the neck of your hook, and then you're going to twist this rubber band into an 8 shape, this new circle that you create by twisting this rubber band onto your hook. And instead of twisting it a 3rd time, we're just going to leave this as it is. And now we're going to get 2 body color rubber bands. Now we're going to put these body color rubber bands in the mouth of our hook, and we're going to slide this rubber band that's on the neck of our hook, which is the cap band, onto these body rubber bands that we just put in the mouth of our hook. So we're going to slide this onto these. Now you're going to put the other end of the rubber bands that you're holding onto your hook. So now you should have something like this. And now we're going to get 2 more body color rubber bands, and we're going to put them in the mouth of our hook once again. Now we're going to slide these 2 rubber bands onto these rubber bands in the mouth of our hook, just like we did before. And now you should have something like this with your hook. Now with the other end of the rubber bands that you are holding with your fingers, you can put those on your hook now. And now we need to go back to the 8th left pin. My 8th left pin is here. And now we're going to transfer these bands onto this 8th left pin. And it's easier if you do just 2 of them at a time, or just 1 layer. Alright, and now as you can see, I now have my first arm on my loom. Now we're going to make 1 more arm, and we're going to put it now on the 8th right pin. Now to make another arm, you're going to get a body color rubber band, and you're going to place it on the neck of your hook. Then you're going to twist it into an 8 shape and put this new little circle that you create by twisting the rubber band onto your hook as well. And now you're going to get 2 more body color rubber bands, and you're going to place them in the mouth of your hook. And then you're going to slide this cap band that was on the neck of your hook onto these rubber bands that are in the mouth of your hook, like this. And now you're going to put the other end of these rubber bands that you were holding with your fingers onto your hook as well. And now you should have something like this. Now you're going to get the last 2 body color rubber bands you should have left for your arms, and put them in the mouth of your hook. And now slide these rubber bands that are on the neck of your hook onto these rubber bands you just put in your hook's mouth. And now, once you do that, you're going to put this other end of the rubber bands you were holding with your fingers onto your hook, and now you should have something like this. Now find the 8th right pin, and we are now going to place this new arm onto this 8th right pin. So we're going to transfer these rubber bands onto that pin, and it's easiest if you do 1 layer at a time. And now, as you can see, I have my 2 arms on my loom. Now we are done placing arms, because, well, a bunny would only have 2 arms. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make the ears. Now, to make the ears, you're going to need to find the 11th left and right pins. Alright, now the 11th left and right pins should be right next to each other, with, of course, the exception of this middle pin bar in the way. And the ears will be going right, and the easiest way to find it is to look for the left and right pins above the eyes. Now remember these pins because we are going to be placing our ears here. Now, to make the ears, to make it easier to make them, we are going to make it on the first left and right pin. So these two pins that don't have any rubber bands on them. Also, make sure that the arrow on your loom is still pointing towards you. Now let's begin making the ears. To make the ears, you're going to need the last 8 B color rubber bands you should have left. And you will also need 10 A color rubber bands. You will also need the first left pin and the first right pin, and also your hook. Now we're going to make one ear at a time, of course, and we're first going to place double rubber bands for our cap band. And to start our ears, we're going to take 2 A color rubber bands and stretch them going across this first left pin and this first right pin, and twist them into an 8 shape as we pull them across. So here's what that should look like. Now we're going to get 2 of our B color rubber bands, or in other words our ear rubber bands, and we're going to stretch them going across the first left and first right pins as well. But we are not going to twist them into an 8 or any fancy shapes. It's just going to be like just placing them going across these 2 pins. And here's what that should look like from above. Now we need to get our hooks, and we need to loom the bottom rubber bands on top. And to do this, you're going to grab the bottom 2 rubber bands and pull them over the pin they are on, and do this on the other side as well. Now you should have something like this on your loom. Now you can push these B color rubber bands down, and now get a body color rubber band. And with this body color rubber band, we're going to place it going across this first right and first left pins, but we are going to twist this rubber band like an 8. So here's what that should look like from above. Now we're going to get 2 more B color rubber bands and place them going across the first left and first right pins once again, like this. And here's what that should look like from above. Now we're going to get our hooks, and instead of looming these bottom rubber bands, we're going to grab the A color rubber band that is in the middle, and it is a body color rubber band. And we're going to loom this rubber band over the pins that both sides of this rubber band is on, onto these 2 B color rubber bands above them. And now you should have something like this on your loom. Now we're going to loom the bottom rubber bands over the pins they are on. So we're going to grab this bottom, or these bottom 2 B color rubber bands, and pull them over the pins that they are on both sides, like that. And now you should have something like this on your loom. Now we can push these 2 rubber bands on top down, and now we're going to get another A color band, or in other words a body color rubber band, and we're going to place it going from this first left to this first right pin, and we're going to twist it into an H shape just like we'd done before. And here's what that should look like from above. And now we're going to get another A color rubber band, and we're going to place it going across from this first left to this first right pin, only we're just going to place it going across those two pins without twisting it. So here's what that should look like. So you should have these two B color rubber bands on the bottom, this A color rubber band that is twisted, and there should only be one of these, and then another A color rubber band above it, which is not twisted at all. Now we're going to get our hook again, and we're going to loom this second rubber band from the top, so the bottom A color rubber band, and we're going to pull both sides of this A rubber band over the pins that they are on top to the other A color rubber band that is on your loom. Now we're going to loom these bottom rubber bands, and they should be B color rubber bands, and we're just going to pull both sides of these two rubber bands over the pins that they are on, like that. And now you are done making your first ear. Now, to take this ear off of your loom, you're going to get your hook and slide it into one of the pins with this rubber band that's stretched across the first left and the first right pins, and you're going to pull it off the pin. Then you're going to bring it over to the other side of the rubber band. Oops, almost lost my rubber band. Come back here. There we go. And then you're going to pull the others. Yes, then you're going to bring it over to the other side of the rubber band on the other pin. And then you're going to take both of the rubber bands off of the pin that they are on. And now you should have your first ear. Now, find the 10th left pin on your loom. The easiest way to find the 10th left pin on your loom is to look for the pin that is above the pin with an eye on it. So this will be the 10th left pin. Now you're going to transfer this rubber band onto this 10th left pin. And it's easiest if you just take one layer off your hook at a time and transfer it on that way. Now, as you can see, I have my first ear on my loom. Now with the rest of these rubber bands, you're going to make another ear. Now, making your second ear for your bunny is the exact same as making your first ear. You're going to be using the first left and first right pins to make it, and I'm not going to go as deep into detail as to how to make it because it took me 10 minutes to pretty much tell you how to make the first ear, and making the ears is very easy. Now to make the second ear, you're going to get two A color rubber bands to start, and you're going to place them going from this first left pin to this first right pin, and when you do this, you're going to twist them into an 8 shape like this. Now we're going to get two B color rubber bands, and we're going to stretch them going across the same two pins, but we are not going to twist these rubber bands. So make sure you get two B color. And now we're going to get our hook, and we're going to grab the bottom of these two layers of rubber bands, and the bottom layer should all be A color rubber bands, and there should be 2. And you're going to pull both sides of this A color rubber band over the pins that they are on and onto this B color rubber band above it. And now you should have something like this on your loom. Now you can push these rubber bands down. And now we're going to get another A color rubber band, and we're going to place it going across the first left and the first right pins. But instead of just placing it going across those 2 pins, we're going to twist it into an H shape like that. And here's what it looks like. And now we're going to get 2 more A color bands. Now we're going to get the last 2 B color rubber bands we should have left. And we're going to place them going across the same 2 pins, the first left and the first right pins. Now we're going to get our hook, and we're going to grab the only layer of A rubber band that we have on these 2 pins, so the second layer of rubber bands, and there should only be 1 A rubber band, and you're going to pull this rubber band over the pins that it is on and onto these big rubber bands above it. Now we're going to loom the bottom 2 B rubber bands, and we're going to pull both sides of these rubber bands over the pins that they are on. And I do apologize if I am going a little too fast. Just use the pause button. But I need to go a little faster because making this bracelet takes a really long time, and the video, I do not want to be an hour. So just use the pause button if you need to. You should already have an idea of how to make the ear. Anyway, now we're on to our last 2 A color rubber bands for our ears. And with one of them, you're going to place it going across the same 2 pins as we've been placing all of our ear rubber bands. From this first left pin to this first right pin. And when you place it going across those 2 pins, you're going to twist it into an H shape like this. And now you're going to get your last A color rubber band and place it going across the first left and first right pins without twisting it or doing anything special with it except for placing it across these 2 pins. And here's what that should look like. Now we're going to loom this second layer of rubber bands and the second layer from the top, and this rubber band should be an A color rubber band, and what you're going to do is pull both ends of this rubber band over the pins that they are on and onto the rubber band above them. And this should also be an A color rubber band. Now you're going to loom the bottom layer of rubber bands, and this should be the 2 B color rubber bands that you should have left on these pins. And you're going to do the same thing as you've done for every other rubber band. You're going to pull both ends of this rubber band over the pins that they are on and onto this rubber band above them. Now we need to get this A color rubber band off of the pins that it is on. And to do this, we're going to grab one side of this rubber band and bring it over to the other side with our hook, like this. And now we're going to take both layers of this rubber band off of the pin that they are on, and with our hooks. And now we should have our second ear. Now we need to find the 10th right pin. And the easiest way to find this 10th right pin is by looking for the pin on your loom that has an I rubber band on it and looking for the pin that is right above that one. Now we're going to transfer this rubber band from our hook onto this 10th right pin. And it is easiest to do this by taking one layer off at a time and transferring it with your fingers that way. And now you should have a second ear on your little bunny. Now, if you're going to be placing these whiskers onto your little bunny, then go ahead and get the rubber bands that you need for that. You're going to need 2 rubber bands for the actual whiskers and 2 rubber bands for the cap bands for these whiskers to go on. Now, if you are not going to be placing whiskers on your Loom or for your bunny, then just let this part play through and you can just check your bracelet and make sure you've done everything correctly. And yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue now. To make your whiskers, you're going to need your hook. You're going to need an A color rubber band, and this A color rubber band is going to be a cap band. Now to make this rubber band into a cap band, you're just going to go ahead and put it on your hook, and on your hook's neck, and you're going to hold this rubber band so that you can twist this rubber band into an H shape, and with this new little circle that you create by twisting your rubber band, you're going to put it onto your hook as well. And now you should have something like this on your hook. Now, you're going to get one of your whisker rubber bands, and you're going to put it in the mouth of your hook. Now, you're going to slide this cap band that you just created onto this whisker rubber band, and you're going to put now the other end of this whisker rubber band that you're holding with your fingers onto your hook as well. So now you should have something like this. Now what we're going to do with this whisker rubber band is we're going to create a slip knot. And to do this, you're going to grab this side of the whisker rubber band that's on your hook, that is farthest inwards on your hook, so the one that's farthest away from the mouth of your hook, this side here, and you're just going to pull it off of your hook. Make sure the other side of this rubber band stays on your hook. And now you're going to pull your cap band, which is a body color rubber band. I can grab it there. There we go. And you're just going to pull it, give this a little tug, and you can take it off your hook. And now you have this, your first whisker. And then you're going to put the whisker rubber band on the 9th left or right pin. And the easiest way to find this pin is to look for the pin that has an arm on it, and then look for the pin that is just above that one. And this pin is also just under the eye. Now you're just going to put the cap band on this 9th left pin, or this 9th right pin, depending on which pin you would like to put it on first. Now we're going to make another whisker for your bunny, and to do this, we're going to do the same thing as we've done for this first whisker. We're going to get a body color rubber band, and we're going to put it on the neck of our hook. Then we're going to twist this rubber band into an 8 or an infinity sign, so into this 8 shape. And then with this new little circle thing you created by twisting this rubber band, you're going to put it on your hook. And now you should have this on your hook. And now you're going to get your last whisker rubber band, and you're going to put it in the mouth of your hook, like this. And now you're going to push this cap band that you have on your hook's neck up onto the whisker rubber band that is in your hook's mouth. Now you can put the other end of your whisker that you're holding with your fingers onto your hook as well, like this. And now you should have something like this on your hook. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a slip knot. And to do this, we're going to grab the side of this rubber band that's on our hook that is farthest away from the mouth of our hook. So this side here for me. And you're going to hold the other side with your finger so you can pull this side farther from the hook's mouth off of your hook. And then you can get your cap band and give this whisker rubber band on your hook a little tug so that you can tighten the slip knot. And then you can take this whisker rubber band off of your hook and put this cap band on this 9th right pin. And now you should have both of the whiskers that you have wanted to have on your loom. Now, you should have 13 body color rubber bands, or in other words, 13 A color rubber bands left, but you are only going to need 10 of them for this next step. And you are also not going to need 2 of these rubber bands because they are just extras in case if one of your rubber bands break. Now anyway, you're going to need 10 A color rubber bands for this next step. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing these rubber bands as the rubber bands that hold this triple single together. And what we're going to do is we're going to start placing these rubber bands for 3rd, left, middle, and right pins. So they will be all in a triangle shape. So you're going to start on this 3rd left pin and place this body color rubber band going outwards to this 3rd right pin. Then you're going to grab a part of this rubber band and pull it up to this 3rd middle pin, creating this triangle shape. Now you're going to do the same thing on the 4th left, middle, and right pins. You're going to place a body color rubber band going from this 4th left pin to this 4th right pin. And then you're going to grab one side of this rubber band that you've just placed and bring it up to this 4th middle pin, creating another triangle shape. Now you're going to do the same thing here on the 5th left, middle, and right pins. You're going to get another A color rubber band and place it going from this 5th left pin to this 5th right pin. The only thing different about this is that you have these 2 feet here, so you might want to push those rubber bands down before you place this one. But you're just going to place this A color rubber band going from this 5th left to this 5th right pin, and then you're going to grab this side of the rubber band and bring it up to this 5th middle pin. And you're just going to continue making these triangle shapes on your loom, going all the way up your loom until you run out of A color rubber bands. And you should have 7 A color rubber bands left. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video. Use the pause button if you need to. Alright, I have now placed 6 of these triangle shapes on my loom, and now I am here where now the next triangle rubber band should be going over top of these whisker rubber bands and this nose rubber band. But instead of placing another triangle shape, we're going to place a body color rubber band going from this 9th middle pin to this 9th right pin. You're going to need your hook for this step, and what you're going to do is you're going to grab your nose rubber band here with your hook, and you're going to pull it onto this body color rubber band you just placed above it. So you're going to basically pull this nose rubber band over the pin it is on. And make sure this A rubber band stays on the pins it is on right now. This 9th middle pin and this 9th right pin. And now what you can do is you can get your hook and stretch this A color rubber band that has the nose on it outwards to this 9th left pin as well. So you should still have this triangle looking shape. It's just a little distorted because you have your nose rubber band on it. Now we're going to place another triangle shape on these 10th left, middle, and right pins, and we're now going to do this similar thing to these eye rubber bands. What we're going to do is we're going to place this A color rubber band going from this 10th left pin to this 10th right pin. We're not going to put it on this middle pin yet. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the eye rubber band and pull it over the pin that it is on and onto this A color rubber band that was just placed above them. So do this for both the left and right eyes. So like that. And now you can use your hook and grab this side of this A rubber band and pull it up to this 10th middle pin. Now you can place the last two A rubber bands that you have for your triangles on your loom. So this next one goes on the 11th left, right, and middle pins. And then this final A rubber band that you have for your triangles goes on this 12th left, right, and middle pins. And now you should be done placing these triangle shapes on your loom. And now you should have 3 body color rubber bands left, but you will only need 1 for this next step, and the other 2 are just extras just in case. So just put these away. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get our hooks and one of our last A color rubber bands, and we are now going to begin looming. Now, to loom this bracelet, you need to make sure that the arrow on your loom is still pointing towards you. This is the direction the arrow has been pointing ever since you have placed the feet rubber bands for your bunny and also the face rubber bands, all the way up until you place these triangular bands on your loom. Now to begin looming, we need to come to this first middle pin, and with this extra body color rubber band that we have gotten, we're going to make it a cap band. To make this rubber band into a cap band, we're going to twist this rubber band into an 8 or an infinity sign. Then we're going to fold it back on top of itself like a book. And now it should look like you have 2 rubber bands instead of 1. Now you're going to place this cap band on this first middle pin. Now you can get your hook and we can start looming. The first thing we are going to loom is this middle row of rubber bands on our loom. To do this, we're going to pull back the cap band on the first middle pin. There we go. Then we're going to grab the top rubber band underneath of the cap band and we're going to pull it off the pin. Make sure you hold the cap band so it does not come off the pin with this rubber band. And this rubber band that you have in your hook should be a rubber band that goes forwards to this second middle pin. Now you're on the second middle pin, you're just going to grab this rubber band that's on that pin and loom it forwards to the third middle pin. Then once you're on this third middle pin, you're going to grab this rubber band that's on that pin and loom it forwards to that fourth middle pin. You're just going to continue grabbing the rubber bands that's on each pin and looming it forwards to the next pin until you get to this very last pin, or in other words the 13th middle pin. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video here. Use the pause button if you need to. Alright, well, as you can see, I have now loomed all of the rubber bands in this middle row of pins on my loom. Now we're going to loom the left row of rubber bands on our loom, and to do this, we need to return to this first middle pin. To begin looming this left row of rubber bands, we're going to pull back the cap band on this first middle pin, if I can even do that. And then you're going to grab the top rubber band underneath of the cap band. Now you're going to pull this rubber band off of the pin, and you're going to need to hold down the cap band so that you can pull this rubber band off of the pin. And now with this rubber band that's on your hook, it should be going outwards to this left pin here, this second left pin, because this is the first. Now we're going to do something similar to what we did in this middle row of pins, but instead you're going to be pulling back these triangle rubber bands, and also we will be pulling back rubber bands such as the feet rubber bands. So here we need to pull back this rubber band that we just loomed outwards on this second left pin. Then we're going to grab this bottom rubber band and loom it forwards to this third left pin. Now we come to our first left rubber band with a triangle shape here on it. What you're going to do is you're just going to pull back this triangular rubber band there we go. And then you're going to grab the bottom rubber band below it. And this rubber band should be a body color rubber band that is not this triangle rubber band, and this rubber band will be loomed forwards to this fourth left pin. Now that we're on this fourth left pin, we're going to loom this next left rubber band. We're going to do the same thing as we've done before. Pull back this triangle rubber band, grab the bottom rubber band, and loom it forwards to the next pin. Now we have loomed this rubber band forwards to our first body part here, which is our foot. What you're going to do here is pretty much the same as you've been doing, except now you need to pull back the foot rubber bands. So you also not only need to pull back the triangle rubber bands, but you also need to pull back the foot rubber bands. Then you grab the very bottom rubber band, and you will loom it forwards to the next left pin. And you're going to continue pulling back the top rubber bands and grabbing the very bottom rubber band, so you can loom it forwards to the next pin, all the way up until you get to this last left pin, so this 13th left pin. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video. Use the pause button if you need to. Alright, now as you can see, I have loomed all of these body rubber bands forwards on this left row of pins, and now what you're going to do is once you get to this 13th left pin, is you're going to grab this rubber band here on the 13th left pin, and this rubber band should go inwards to this 13th middle pin, and that is where you're going to loom this rubber band. Now we're going to loom this right row of rubber bands, and this will be the final row of rubber bands that we need to loom to complete this bracelet. So you need to go back to this first middle pin once again, and you're going to do the exact same thing you've done on the left side, now on the right. So starting on this first middle pin, you're going to pull back the cap band and grab the bottom rubber band, so the rubber band that is below the cap band. You shouldn't need to hold this cap band down anymore. You should just be able to loom this rubber band that's left on the pin outwards to this second right pin. Now we're going to loom this right row of rubber bands, and to do this we're going to start by pulling back the top rubber bands on the second right pin and grabbing this bottom rubber band and looming it forwards. Now here is where it's similar looming this right row of rubber bands as it is on the left row. You're going to be pulling back these triangle rubber bands and grabbing the bottom rubber band and looming it forwards. And when you get to a body part such as the feet and the arms, you will have to pull those rubber bands back as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward from here. Use the pause button if you need to, and I will see you once you have finished looming this right row of rubber bands up until you get to this 13th right pin. Alright, now as you can see here, I have finished looming this right row of rubber bands all the way up until I've gotten to this 13th right pin. Now what I'm going to do is the same as I've done on the left. I'm just going to grab this rubber band on the 13th right pin, and this rubber band goes inwards to this 13th middle pin. Sorry about that there, I usually loom with my left, as you probably saw before. But now, once you have loomed this rubber band here, you are done looming rubber bands on your loom. So here's what your loom should look like once you have finished doing that. Now, once you have finished looming all of the rubber bands that you need to on your loom, we are now going to be able to remove this bracelet from our looms. Now, to take this bracelet off of our loom, we need to make sure that the arrow is still pointing towards us, and we need to go back again to this first middle pin. The two rubber bands that you should have left over, which are A rubber bands, unless of course if I miscounted my rubber bands and I just have two extras, you're still going to need two more rubber bands, or at least one more rubber band. And these two rubber bands, or this one rubber band, should be A color rubber bands. So put those to the side for now. We're going to need those later. The way we're going to be taking this bracelet off of our loom is going to be a little different from how tutorials usually have you take your bracelet off your loom. We're instead going to start on this first middle pin, and we're going to use our hooks, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull off the rubber bands on each pin, one pin at a time, and what this does is it reduces the chance of a rubber band breaking when you pull this bracelet off of your loom, and it also takes away the chance of a rubber band coming up off of your loom and smacking your arm, which that actually does happen. And you're just going to pull off all the rubber bands off of every pin going down your loom until you get to this 13th middle pin. Do not take the rubber bands off of this 13th middle pin. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video because this is going to take a while, and I will see you once I have finished doing this, and also make sure to use the pause button if you need to. Alright, well, as you can see, I've taken off every rubber band from my loom, and now except for these rubber bands here on this 13th middle pin. Now you're going to get these two rubber bands here that you should have left over, unless if I miscounted, but you should get two of these rubber bands, and what we're going to do is when you make a triple single is what you would usually do, is you would take your hook and you're going to put it in this 13th middle pin with all of these rubber bands on it, and you're going to put your hook going through all of these rubber bands and going all the way through this pin, and when you stick your hook outwards, you pick up all of the rubber bands that are on the pin. And now you're going to take these two rubber bands. We're not going to use one, we're going to use two, so just in case if one snaps, and that just would not be good, but we're going to use two, and we're going to put them in the mouth of our hook, and now we're going to slide our hook back up through these rubber bands on this 13th middle pin. Now we're going to put this other end of the rubber bands that we were holding with our fingers onto our hook as well, and now we can take these rubber bands off of this 13th middle pin. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a few extra seconds just in case if you need them. And now you should have goodness, it's thundering outside. That's never good. But anyway, back to the tutorial. Now you should have your little bunny bracelet. Now, of course, this doesn't really look too much like a bunny because the whole thing is brown. It's like it has all this extra stuff down here underneath of its legs, and wait a minute, that sounded weird. Okay, never mind. But if you have these little whiskers on your bunny and the slip knot starting to come undone, you can always just tighten the slip knot a little bit, or a lot, as much as you would like to, and as you can see, you should now have your little bunny. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making our extension for this bracelet. For our extension, we are going to be making a single chain extension, and the way I'm going to be showing you how to make this single chain extension is so that you only need to use 2 pins on your loom, and that you can make this extension as long as you want without having to make any transfers on your loom. So you can pick any 2 pins on your loom, and I have chosen these 2 here. And what you're going to do is, with these 2 rubber bands that are on your hook, is you're going to transfer them onto these 2 pins that you have chosen. And it is easiest, obviously, to take one layer of these and put them on one pin, and then the other layer that's on your hook and put them on the other pin. So you're going to take one side of the rubber bands off and put them on one pin, and then you're going to do the same thing for this other little layer here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get some extension rubber bands. Now, depending on who the person this bracelet is for, will depend on how many extension rubber bands that you will need. Now, I'm going to be using a mixture of these brown rubber bands, which I had forgotten to say before, that these brown rubber bands are all from Rainbow Loom, and I'm not sure exactly what they are called, but I do know that they're not the caramel rubber bands because those have been out of stock forever. And some of these brown rubber bands are also skin color rubber bands from the skin tone things. And then I also have these gold rubber bands, which these are not Rainbow Loom though. So I'm going to be using a mix of these rubber bands. Now, what you do with your single chain extension is kind of optional now, because you can either use double rubber bands because you have double rubber bands for this here, or you can just go ahead and do single rubber bands. I'm going to be doing double rubber bands, and I'm going to be mixing these brown rubber bands from Rainbow Loom and some of these gold rubber bands that I have. Now, to make a single chain extension with 2 pins, you're going to place an extension rubber band going across the same 2 pins as these 2 rubber bands that you have just placed on before them, and you're going to grab both ends of this bottom layer of the rubber bands and pull the ends over the pins that they are on. So now these 2 rubber bands that were on the bottom before are now on these 2 rubber bands that we have just placed. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to get some extension rubber bands or an extension rubber band, and we're going to place them going across the same 2 pins as the rubber bands that were placed before them, and we're going to grab the bottom layers of the rubber bands, and there should be either 2 or 1, depending if you're using double rubber bands for your extension or single rubber bands, and you're going to pull both ends of this rubber band over the pins that they are on and onto these 2 rubber bands or this rubber band above them. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to get some extension rubber bands and place them going across the same 2 pins as the rubber bands placed before them. Then we're going to get our hooks and pull both ends of the bottom layer of rubber bands over the pins that they are on, and on top onto these rubber bands that are above them. And I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple more times, probably twice. You're going to get your extension rubber bands, stretch them going across the same 2 pins as the rubber bands that were placed before them. Then you get your hook and you are both ends of the bottom layer over the pin that they are on and onto these rubber bands that are above them. And then you do the same thing again. You get some extension rubber bands, place them going across the same 2 pins as the rubber bands above them, and pull both ends of the bottom layer of the rubber bands over the pins that they are on and onto the rubber bands that are above them. And you're just going to continue this cycle until you have made your extension long enough to fit around your wrist. So I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward here. Alright, well, now as you can see I have made my extension pretty long, and now it is long enough to make my bracelet fit around my wrist. You see my cute little bunny. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to finish off your bracelet and put a clip on it and attach both ends to each other so you can wear your bracelet. Now, to do this step, you're going to need your clip, and you're also going to need your hook. And of course, you're also going to need this end of your extension that is still on these two pins. Now, to finish off your bracelet, you're going to need to grab one of the two ends on one of the two pins on your loom and pull it over to the other pin with the other end of these rubber bands. And now what you should have is this on your loom. Now you're going to get your hook, and you're going to put your hook inside of this pin that has these rubber bands on it, and you're going to pull these rubber bands back to another pin on your loom. There we go. Then you can get your clip, and I'm using this S clip here, and you can slide your clip now onto the rubber bands that are stretched out here. So now as you can see, I have my S clip on here, and now what you can do is just pull these rubber bands off of the pins that they are on once you have your clip on to them. Now you're going to attach your clip to the other end of your bracelet, and that is this cap band. Now to get your clip onto this cap band, you're going to need to stretch your cap band out, going across any two pins on your loom, just like before. And now you need to get your clip and attach your clip onto your cap band. And as you can see, I have gotten my clip onto my cap band. And once you have that, you can take the cap band off your pins, and now your clip should be attached to both ends of your bracelet, the end of your extension and also your cap band. So now you can go ahead and put this bracelet on, and bam! So as you can see, I am now wearing my little bunny bracelet, and now it's time for the outro. So I would like to thank you for watching, and also I hope you were enjoying your little triple single pet bunny. And if you would like, you can cut the ends of your little whiskers here if you would like to. I am not going to be doing this in this video, but if you do that, you would just take some scissors and just cut them here at the ends. But first make sure that your slip knot is as tight as you can get it, and then you can cut it and do whatever you want with your little bracelet here. But anyway, I hope you were able to make this bracelet successfully. I also hope you were enjoying your little bunny. And now it's starting to rain, so that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and bye!